Okay. Thanks. Thanks, Nim. Yun pa lang. Yes, it's now recorded. Um, so I've actually also worked at World Bank. Just uh, so my role was the Open Data Initiative. I was actually overseeing the data.gov.ph at that time. Initiative pa lang siya, so hindi pa namin mapera sa lahat ng mga agency. But now that it's already mandated na lahat ng mga data should be banked in the open data repository. So the government is now working on that. So parang maganda dahil we're heavily using Drupal on that scale. And now working at Pantheon as onboarding manager, doing automation. So I work most of the time. I work with Python and Go. Siyempre, hindi natin kinakalimutan si Drupal. It will always remain in our hearts. Eka nga. So my last Drupal camp na inatanan was Drupal camp Singapore. I think 2 years ago na ba yun, bro? Oh, 2 years ago na. And this is really very, very interesting and exciting, this Drupal camp in the cloud. So gawin natin interesting. So the topic today is how to contribute to Drupal.org. So we did the same event setup. Yan. Ang tawag namin doon is X-Contribute.
That was X-Team, bro.
Oh, with X-Team. So this was actually the first Contribute X. Actually, first, Contribute X. That happened in 2014 sa Microsoft Philippines. It was sponsored by X-Team. During the time, Gerald and I are still with X-Team. Ito yung mga pictures. Probably some of you knows some of them in the picture. Hindi kata si Adrian eh. Wala pa.
Kata si Adrian nun.
Tago.
Si Roald. Actually, this was very fruitful kasi I think five of the contribution were included in the Drupal core 8. Drupal 8 core. Kasi yung sa core talaga kami nag-concentrate on contributing. Some of them are actually just, testing the Drupal 8 and then checking out kung ano yung may mga issue. Because that time talagang ang dami pa talagang error ni Drupal 8. So, it was a successful event. Ito si Gerald. Yan. We highlighted the X-Editor distribution. Ito yung kauna-unahang Drupal distro na may React.js tsaka AngularJS na set up. Tayo ata bro, pinakaunang nag-integrate ng React.js.
Oo, tayo ang una nun paglabas.
Yan. Uh, Oo nga, parang si Adrian to. Oh. Tama ba yan, bro?
Oo.
Ah,
Oo nga, no?
Yes, ah.
Guwapo mo dyan, bro.
Labo nga eh.
So, ito yung mga naging top contributor natin during the time. Si Roald, Adrian, si Joseph.
Ano pa niyan? Na-credit pa si Rowald doon sa Drupal Camp Cebu niyan.
Oo nga eh. Yes. Oo, sa Drupal 4. So sabi nga dito, contributing doesn't require permission. So if you wanna contribute, just go ahead. Walang restriction yan. You can always contribute by editing documentation, or you can also create your own documentation. Pwede rin yun. And number two is you can contribute by submitting your module. And then the third one is you can also contribute by reviewing others' work. So, ang daming mga submission ng modules that requires peer review. So, nire-require tayo nun. Ang problema lang is, oftentimes, yung mga ganitong training, yung kung paano mag-create ng module, kung paano in a proper way, paano mag-create ng patch, yun yung hindi masyadong nadidiscuss. So, and that's actually one of our agendas today. So let's go back to okay. So our agenda is that we need to create a Drupal project, how to work with the issue queue, simple task for your first contributions, Drupal standards, the project page, and how to release your project. Pwede kasing nakapag-create ka ng project, pero wala naman siyang downloadable link dun sa, sa Drupal project mo. Because you haven't released any project. Or pwede ring hindi ka pa vetoed. Pag sinabing vetoed kasi may mga ibig sabihin nun is when you submit a module, kailangan you will be scrutinized by the core team. Lahat ng mga syntax errors, lahat ng ng mga kailangang like documentation, dapat pina-follow mo yung readme patterns, ano dapat yung laman ng readme. So, tinitingnan yon, and every line of code, kailangan mo ayusin yan. Otherwise, your module, madidelay lang ng madidelay yon. Duty from Malaysia. Kailangan natin mag-English. Hi, Dudy. Dudy, can you introduce yourself to the group? If it's just okay. So, you're just in time kasi we've just started outlining the agenda for today. All right. So, once again, these are our agenda for today. First, we discuss how to create a Drupal project, how to work with the issue queue, simple tasks for your first contributions, Drupal standards, the project page, and how to release your project. Okay. So first is how to contribute projects to Drupal.org. First is we visit the project page. Um, example here. Uh, last time I visited this page, parang kukunti pa lang. But now there are actually a lot of content types. Dami nang dinagdag. So we will focus on the module project. So we click that module project, and so you create your the name of your project. There, the full project, Sandbox project. Okay. Actually, these are valuable information. So full project, I used to call them as a full blown project and Sandbox project. Okay. So what's the difference between the full project and Sandbox project? Full project has, when you create a project, it will automatically create a path. Like for example, I named this as my my Manila. So if I name my module project as Decamp Manila 2020, and I choose full project, what happens is when you submit this module, it will create a path like drupal.org/project/Decamp Manila 2020. So that's the full project. It has a path. And while the Sandbox project, when you create that, there's no path. It's just a Git repository. So uh, if it's just a Sandbox project, you're required to, clone the repo and then commit your changes in that repository. And when you commit your changes on that repository, so some people can actually access that repository too. And then they can also contribute to that repo. And well, what happens is if you're tasked to create a module, I mean, this is a company, uh, you're going commercial, and of course, the project that you're going to contribute, of course, should be a full-blown project. But the thing is, since this is your first time, you have no idea what's the Drupal project, so you immediately create a project on a Sandbox project. Now, the thing is, if if it's a Sandbox project, when you there's no path, then some people would say, probably this is just a newbie developer trying to submit a module. Now, the question is how can how can a developer be able to create a full blown project or a full project? First is, of course, I think if you're not a vetoed developer, I think the select the select list here, I think you can only select the Sandbox project, no full project at that for the first time, because you will not be allowed to do that. Um, so now, what happens is when you created your project, um, create this, uh, so maintenance status is actively maintained. Um, under active development. And then you can also choose the category of that module. Then, of course, the description. So I suggest if you have an organization or if you're employed in a company, I would recommend that you uh, that you sign up your company as an organization, so they'll get contribution rewards. How they help? They uh, let me work. Mm, Not hours. Sample. Resources. If you have a demo, screenshots, then you have to fill this out, and this should this should be specific because otherwise, the technical peer reviewer will give you a bunch of comments. And project documentation. All right. So see, so now this is the Sandbox project. So as you can see, there's no path here that says, Sandbox and Fusion Excel. But if it's a full project, you will say it will say Drupal.org/project, then the name of your module. And what happens if we have a Sandbox? Then of course you have a Git that you can set it up. When we initialize the Git, we check out the the one.x, the branch. Okay, so never ever commit your changes on the master branch because you'll have trouble later on if that happens. Before they they're not actually specifying to check it out, so a lot of people are actually confusing that time. So let's create a readme file. Yes, add. We commit. and we push it to our remote repository. All right, and let's hit push. Sorry, let's sobrang tagal ko na siguro. Of course, before you commit the changes, dapat your account, your SSH keys are always updated. So probably, I think I haven't pushed for 2 years because most of my commits are already on GitHub. So let's, I will update this. SSH keys. Wala nga. So I will add my public key. Alisin ko muna. Guys, pwede kayong magsalita para hindi kayong boring. That's SSH. ID -RSP. So now I'm copying my SSH public key. I'm now adding it and saving it. All right, it's done. So sabi dito is the SSH public key has been saved. So let's try that again. Ayos, it went through. Now we have a new repository. There you go. Now, so that's how simple, how to create your project. As long as you know how to set up your Git, you're good to go. And then meron din namang instruction. There's an instruction on how to create your project on so let's get back to the presentation. Okay. So yun nga, we've just created our project at Drupal.org. Visit and create. I have the links there. And we submitted it. So this is just the sample one. And now the battle begins. And we are now ready to go to the issue queue because that's actually where we go through the uh, other. It's where we go through other works. Like for example, we wanna go contribute to their work. So it is also important to know and to be familiarized kung saan pumupunta when you're finding issues. Okay. Pero before we go there, let's go to this page. So this is actually why we get involved. Um, so sabi ko nga, we can contribute in a lot of ways in Drupal.org. Either you create a documentation, you answer questions. I think my first contribution to Drupal.org is by answering some others' question. Parang, paano ba? Parang fora or something like that. And you invite others to respond with their comments. So we contributors are the soul of Drupal. So and that's really true. So that's actually one of the strongest points of Drupal when compared with other CMS. Drupal is actually the father of contribution. I think there are a lot of communities that replicated the Drupal community on how to handle Drupal projects. So I think this was mentioned by Dries last year. And of course, contributing helps you learn Drupal faster. Actually, yun isa sa mga tips na kung if you really wanna become a Drupal developer faster and efficiently, then I would really recommend that you go through the veto process. Okay, so we'll talk about the process on how to be granted with the veto. And then your contribution to Drupal project are public, so anyone can recognize you. So yun yung kagandahan niya. And Drupal community members are awesome people. Tingnan nyo na lang si Gerald. So, yeah. All right. So, ito yung contributor task. Okay. So, for new members, or not new members, but for new contributors, meaning you've just submitted your module and you want to be scrutinized by the security peer review. Actually, yung tawag is security team peer review. So, ang first task, when you submitted your module, you will be given, I think, 10 or 15 different tasks. And dapat you need to complete those tasks so that they can grant you with veto, meaning you can create a full-blown project once you have granted with the veto. So first, here it says add keywords to a community documentation. This is actually for non-technical people. Okay. This sabi nga is you can be a contributor even if you're just a writer, you're not a technical, or if you're not a coder, then these are the tasks that you can contribute to Drupal.org by adding keywords to a community documentation page, add screenshots to Drupal issue. Okay. Let me share this with you. Chat. Chat. Okay. to everyone. Yeah. All right. So screenshot, answer a support forum questions. When we did our X contribute X, so I think 40% of who attended the contribute X, they're just actually testing the Drupal 8 and then added some or updated the documentation on Drupal in Drupal.org on Drupal 8. So you can also provide support in IRC, clean up, and review a documentation issue report. So when you say triage, so it's like reviewing a documentation issue report. So when you say triage, it's actually it has been reviewed, but it will take a lot of reviewers for that to be completed. So when triage, they're actually looking for multiple reviews. So yun. Clean up and triage a documentation issue report. Document steps to reproduce a reported issue. Handle or refer a support request in an issue. Manually do accessibility testing of a patch for a Drupal issue. So we will talk about this later on kung paano, how do we test the patch. Okay. Manually test the patch for a Drupal issue, triage, verify a reported issue. Okay. Sabi ko, when you submitted your module, you will be given a multiple task. So one of those tasks is actually verify a reported issue. So meaning you're gonna be working with other contributors as well. Meaning you get to review others' work, and then you give your comments and suggestions. So that's actually one of the tasks. And then actually strict yung peer review team, because you cannot just go there, there's an instruction on how to review that. Of course, it will entail time. You need to install the modules. You have to configure and set it up. So some other lazy folks, gagawin nila is they will just, they'll just do the mind compiling. Alam mo yung, and then based on their mind compilation, okay, actually it works. Pero it's not actually testing it. It's not really doing the installation, the actual configuration, and the actual applying the actual patch. He will just go there, it seems that he did went through that process, pero it's not. So the team reviewer will find that out. Okay, so just make sure that you will really go through with the triage, the review. Kasi syempre because you're in a hurry, sometimes you're too lazy to go through those steps. So you'll dive in and write and comment right away. So the team reviewer will know that you're just in a hurry and putting some. And then next is identify duplicate issues. There are hundreds of modules that's being submitted that's actually duplicates, meaning there's already an existing module that has the same functionality. So as as a novice, when you submit a module and you're submitting yourself for scrutiny and applying for a veto process, you are actually you are tasked to find duplicates. So meaning is when you, of course, you review all the submitted modules, and then you go through those modules, and then you find out that there's actually an existing module already for this. So what you're gonna do is you comment, or you comment to that submitted project. You say, hey bro, there's actually an existing module already that and you don't need to develop yours because there's already an existing one. Then that's actually a plus point, meaning you've completed the task. So that's actually identifying duplicate issues or duplicate projects. And uh, and when you comment or when you suggest, you actually tag your name as a novice. In that way, the peer review team will be able to track your progress. So that's actually for anyone. And the next is the new contributor task, pero non-English language speakers. So I think some of these are Japanese developers doing Drupal. So they're tasked to translate stuff. Ito yung mga ginawa ko when I was actually in the veto process. So backporting a Drupal core patch, create a patch for a Drupal core issue. Actually, medyo advanced na nga rin to eh. Last time, hindi pa ganito advanced yung binibigay nilang task. Improve patch, coding standards and documentation, manually testing a twig patch for a Drupal core issue, reroll. So these are the stuff that's very, very unusual to most of the developers. Kasi nga, these are not being taught in Drupal trainings. So talagang you have to go through this and experience this. Yun nga sabi is, when you go through this task, you will learn faster on Drupal. So it's a very fulfilling task given to you, especially when you completed it and you are granted with the veto process. Okay, so we will. I've already shared with you the link to this, and then later on we will try to create a patch and we will apply the patch in some of the features. Okay, let me share with you this one issue. Okay. So I found this in the issue queue. So ito yung sinasabi ko, the battle begins in this location. Di ba, you're gonna be contributing to Drupal.org, and this is actually the location where you will find those modules that needs peer reviewed, modules that needs review or that needs work, meaning there is a custom code that needs to be done. So you can always find minor. Kasi kung major, talagang this is very critical and very complex. So start muna tayo sa minor. And of course, the category is bug report. Then maybe 9.x. Component, you can select, kunyari, you're expert in field system or on cron system. So you can always select or maybe any, and then search. So ito yun, yung minor category. So merong nag-submit 6 days ago. Yeah, 6 days ago. Bug report, status is active, priority is minor. Category, bug report. Okay, so let's check this. Local task manager should choose the child plugin logic. if any, set active, probably CSS lang to. So let's check that out. Okay, so ito na yung issue queue. So ito nga, you are required, you are really required to have a Drupal 9 dev version or dev branch, and then try to replicate this issue. So tulad nito, wala pang may nag-submit ng review. So you can actually jump into this link and you can comment. So that's actually helping already by reviewing this issue. Next is about 10 years. Rated. Ito nga, 10 years ago pa to final. The session contents lost during logout. So Drupal 9. So it started 10 years ago by RFA. So kung titingnan mo, sobrang dami na ng patch. Of course, if you wanna go and check this out, there. So there's a patch here. So so in this issue, ang gagawin mo is, well, you can check this patch if it actually works. So traditionally, ang gagawin natin is when you get, of course, you have to install anong version to tinest, probably Drupal 6 or Drupal 7. Okay, so, yeah, patch for Drupal 7. And ang gagawin mo is you need to set up a Drupal 7 locally, of course, working Drupal 7 version on your local machine. And you apply this patch to the Drupal 7 specific branch. And then you test it out, the session, especially that. Well, that's the old ways. Now, there's actually tools that we're using that we can actually use. So we copy this. We're not really going to test it because it's Drupal 7, but I'm just gonna share with you how to test this patch automatically. You don't need to go the manual process. So we'll just copy the patch, okay? Then we go to the simply test.me. And if that's actually Drupal 7, Drupal 4, assuming it's 7.51, okay? Just assuming. And then there's actually an advanced options here. And then there's a add patch. So you paste in the patch and you're good to go. You can actually launch it. And that's it. So you just, yeah. So ganon. I don't know why it's not working. Probably because it's Drupal 7. But that's actually the process. You go to simply test.me. You select which project name, and then the important step here is apply the patch.
Can you try,
bro?
Can you try changing from HTTPS to HTTP as per the error?
Ay, sorry. Hindi pala to. Mali pala yung patch na yan. Mali yung patch. Dapat yan naka-git. Ito na lang para mas latest. Drupal 8. Allowed at least bagong-bago to. Okay, so ito na lang. Test natin. So, we'll try to check this patch sa pinakadulo. Okay, ito. Last submitted patch. Fail daw eh. So sabi dito is 8.x. It's using 8.x. So, where's the patch? Ito yun. Man. So that's the patch. Then we go to simple test that. Actually, this is under NDN. This is actually the issue for the okay. So Drupal core pala ta. Okay, so Drupal core 880.x. Drupal core 80.x. Pinabababa. Advanced option. Apply the patch. Okay. And then launch the sandbox. So, ganun lang kasimple. And then, of course, kung ano yung, I'm sure meron niyang how to replicate the issue. So, ito yun. So, hintayin mo lang, and once it's done, then you are ready to test it. Sobrang, di ba, it will entail time to test it out, installing it on your local machine, applying the patch manually. So with simply test.me, it's all automated. So you don't need to spend more time in checking out or peer reviewing the work of other Drupal devs. Dati wala to yun. Very bagay pa to si simply test.me. So ngayon they're using container using tugboat technology. Familiar ka with the tugboat technology, bro?
No.
So ito yun. Galing nga nung gawa yan. Tapos, matatrack mo rin dito kung talagang the patch went through or nag-complete siya. So that's how simple to test the patch. Simple lang ngayon. So sa tingin nyo kaya nang review with other modules using this. Okay, while waiting for 38% lang. While waiting for that, let's balikan natin yung mga dati kong sinagutan. During my time when I was actually working on my veto application, okay, so let me explain some the dashboard. I don't know if we have the same dashboard. Well, the all security advisory, the issue on Drupal core, the contributor links. Sa contributor links kasi meron tinatawag na novice. So most of these probably are submitted modules, and they want peer review. So click mo lang yan. And then your issues. Ito yung mga issue na sinagutan ko during my time. Ito yung mga pang novice. So check natin the last updates. Last updated. Okay. Select natin yung mga bagong-bago. Okay. So, ang dami, oh. So, these are actually the tasks that we can actually check out and see if we can review it. So, ang dami. So, paste ko rin to sa chat. You can check this out. So guys, any questions? Because later on is that you are going to find issues, and then you're going to you will try to contribute. If that contribution can be just okay. So somebody raised hand. So sige sir, Clark, Kirby. Sige bro, go ahead.
I would like to ask if we can categorize the issues for whether it is a beginner friendly or for an advanced developer.
Ang nakalagay lang kasi dito bro is novice. So novice can be just minor changes, probably CSS tweaks or yun. The category is either novice, yeah, so what you're looking for is the novice tag for sa tingin ko kaya naman kung hindi, I mean even if you're not expert on Drupal, I think you can take on that task. Okay. Let's check out kung okay na itong taga lang. Yun lang, mataga lang. Kapag tapos naman to, it will actually redirect to the website. If you don't want the Drupal 4, then let's try let's say a specific project. Let's practice a views. Views. Drupal 7. Views pack. Or the views bonus pack. Wala. Yan, may views. Needs review. At least ito, needs review lang. Oh. 17 replies. So, malalaman mo rin kung if this is a hot topic because you will see a bunch of replies or followers. And then it has been created 8 years ago, so probably this is a long-term issue na hindi pa na susolusyunan. So, yun na talaga. Yung pinaka-existing configured service. Pero pansin ko lang most of these issues, I think they're a little bit complex, and some of those very non-complex issues, it's right away being closed or probably solved. If you're familiar with how Drupal.org utilize the companies, of course, companies now, Drupal shops that does contribution to Drupal.org, they are actually spending 10% of the company's time to contribute to Drupal.org. So, meron silang dedicated team to just watch out the queue. And then, kapag may mga easier task or issue, actually it's actually a plus points to them kasi they get to close it right away. So if you're just probably if we're going to find some issues here, probably some of them are already being reviewed or some of them are already being talked about. If you can see here, the last updates, 3 hours ago, 4 hours ago. So mostly European and US time hours. Most of the contributors are in those time range. Command failed. So ito. So pag sinabing command failed, then probably the patch is really failing. So you can always report that back to the So you can always report that back to the issue. So let's say this one, diba? It failed. So what the next is you go to this page and then you comment. You comment it out. So while using this patch, it fails during the testing. So yun ang ganun lang kasimple. Any questions, guys?
Clear.
Okay. So guys, let's take a break for 10 minutes. Then let's get back I think hanggang 11:30 lang tayo. So we still have 30 minutes to discuss
Okay.
or if you have some questions.
Copy.
I think kakanta ata si Gerald eh. Bro. May kukunin lang ako sa lobby. Pagbalik pala mamaya, I will share the project that I will share with you the Arduino project that I built in fighting COVID-19. So I will try to do a demo before I will deploy. Actually, i-deploy ko siya mamaya sa mga lobby buildings namin. So, yun. See you in 10 minutes. All right, bro.
All right, bro. Cool. Diyan ka, Paul. Akala ko password ng Zoom ko yung pindot ako ng pindot. Sabi ko, hindi ko mapindot.
Sir.
Na-victim ka.
Tag-inang yan. Kala ko nag-hang na computer ko. Bad trip.
Is that in here? Is that in here?
No.
No?
Is Paul back already? Paul?
It's yours.
Narinig ba ako, Adrian?
Yes, sir. Mukhang wala pa ata si Sir Paul.
Ah, okay. Kaya ginawa ni Tor. Baka nasa CR.
Bumaba daw sa lobby, iba na traffic.
Hintayin natin siya.
Okay, okay.
Paul, are you back? Paul? Paul? Wondering where's Paul is. Is Paul busy or what?
Hi guys, do you hear me?
Yes, Paul. Yeah.
Ayos. Ayun, sabi ko pala kanina is before we proceed, ipakita ko yung Arduino project na stop share. So guys, so ito yung ginawa kong prototype using canister. So meron siyang, it's actually using Arduino Uno and simple lang yung schematics niya. Tapos meron siyang sensor, ultrasonic ranging sensor. Tapos sa loob niyan, sa loob nito, merong water pump. Yan itong itsura. So it's 3 to 5 volts na water pump. So nilalagay dito sa loob. And kapag na-detect, pagka na-detect si sensor, magpupush siya ng water pataas. So, tapos, gumagawa ako ng mga packaging niya. Kung sinong nakaalala sa Drupal 2018, malalaman ng actually I'm using the IDs nung Drupal Camp 2018. Ano, naka-plastic na siya kasi yung una is I'm just using the cardboard. Kaso it's sometimes the water or the alcohol spills. So nowadays kasi parang most lobbies in the condominium units or grocery stores or clinics, they have this typical alcohol that you need to push your hands. And sometimes they're too afraid to push that button because you don't know who was the last time who touched that, probably infected. So there's a chance that you'll get the virus if that happens. So with this, I'm using, well, you can use charger. So ipa-plug mo lang. And So, very conscious, very valuable siya ngayon. Pero, this cost less than $10, probably less than 500 pesos. Ang problema lang ngayon is mahirap maghanap ng parts. So, I have already 5 units of this. Sobrang easy lang talaga siya. I can actually share the schematics if you wanna use the same setup. Baka pwede nyo i-donate sa mga neighbors nyo or kung sa condo units kayo, may mga lobby, di ba? So, yun. I think total cost niya mga 450.
The share, bro.
Share ko, bro. Document ko lang yung...
Yeah, share the documentation. Probably Google Doc.
So, yun lang. Kwan lang yan. Side. All right, so welcome. I think Sir June. Wow, long time no see. Sir June Abejo in the house. Sir, mag-introduce ka ng kwan mo. Self. The group. Okay, so mic is broken. So welcome again, Sir June Abejo. Okay, our next topic now is the Drupal coding standard. And let me I don't know if you're familiar with Drupal.org/project/coder. Okay, so coder is actually not a module. It's actually a script, lint. So it's a bundle for setting up Drupal syntax, checking out if you're using the right syntax. And it has PHP standards, PSR 4, 5, 6. And let me share my screen again. Okay, so Drupal.org/project/coder. If you're on Mac, I would suggest you install it manually. So there's actually an installation instruction here. So I mean, in my case, I'm actually using the manual setup. I think this one. So this one, the Composer installer plugin, and then I'm using the manual setup for the installed patch, and you're good to go. Ito lang yung dalawang Composer plugin, Coder and PHP code sniffer. I think I can remember Gerald I think contributed PHP linter on Git. Post pa yun or pre-Git, bro?
Pre-commit, bro.
Pre-commit.
Yeah.
Pre-commit. So, mas maganda kasi before you commit your changes, it's already filtered out with the Drupal standard. So, once you have that installed on your system, meron ako ditong So I have here a project from Mapinas, and uh, I did some changes on the leaflets. I added here maps on the leaflet more maps. So leaflet more maps is actually a module that extending the leaflet module. And so cd leaflet more maps. Okay. So these are the files included in the module. So I can just type in PHP CS. So PHP CS standard Drupal practice, and then you can check what file you will be reviewing, all the PHP or all the module. So you can set that up. So in our case, PHP and that module lang. And then the path. So in my case, I'm using that. Okay. And voila, these are the errors that needs to be fixed. If this module, if you're going to submit this module as your, and you're under the under the vetoed process, then you need to fix all of these errors. So global constant should not be used. Line 85 of that module, there's a warning there. There must be no blank line following an inline comment. So this is very friendly. So kitang-kita mo kaagad if what file is problematic and what line of the page it needs to be updated or fixed. And so most of these are warnings. Sometimes the security team, peer review, they want this to be cleaned up. So before you can proceed to the next task, you need to clean this up. So alam mo na kung gagawin mo, you know what to do with these errors. You just go line by line and remove those spaces or white spaces or lines. So well, this is complicated. Even for others, is there a automated or maybe online thing? Yes, actually, there's another one that we are using. It's called peer review. So let's go to peer review.sh. Okay. So I have here my so this is actually one of my Sandbox. Actually not the Sandbox, but the full project. Loader.io. So I created this back in 2016. So this is just back end of the loader load test Loader.io. And so if I want this to be tested, so I just need to get this URL and you copy this get URL, and then paste it. Or syempre you have to, yeah, https get drupal.org/project/loader.io.git. So submit the branch, and then it will do the same review that you did on the local machine. But this one, of course, is a bit faster because you don't need to install other things there. So it says here, the README file, the introduction is missing, requirement is missing. So it doesn't follow the best practices. Then it says here, remove license.txt. See, with this instruction, this is actually the standard. So this will become your standards of building a Drupal stack. So by doing this peer review, you will also be you will enhance your Drupal practices on Drupal development. So whether you're not using peer review or the local or the online, at least in your mind, it will always be there that you need to always remove the the license.txt if you're packaging it, and then code sniffer. It says here that there's 2 warnings. So buti nga ngayon, the description is very detailed. Tapos it also oh, there's an error here. So error is, that's the priority. So you need to remove or to fix the error. So minsan, I mean, there are times that if you have only 2 or 3 warnings, then some peer review team, they just let it go. And there's actually another tool. It's called PHP CBF. So what it does is when you execute that command, so all the minor changes like syntax, it will fix it automatically. So yun yung kagandahan niya, it will fix it for you. You don't need to manually remove them or find it and replace. So PHP CBF will fix it for you. And then there are a lot of errors here that needs to be fixed. So if I'm going to submit this module for peer review, then I need to fix all of this. So that's how we assuming that we've already fixed everything, there's no more warnings, there's no more errors, then I think the peer review team will grant you a veto. They will grant you with a veto. So I think that's it for this morning session. In the afternoon session, we get to find issues and try to review some of those issues by using the peer review, whether online, or you can also try out the coder from drupal.org/project/coder. And yeah, and actually I will be giving away 1,000 pesos for those who for those who can create more issues, more reviews on the issues. I will be giving away 500 pesos. So for the first and the second one. So dahil 5 na lang kayo, ay hindi, ang dami pa. So you have
10,000 pesos, bro.
1,000. So 500, dalawang 500.
Oh,
I can transfer it via BPI or GCash.
paano yan? Pamalengke na.
Oh, pwede
Counted
na.
ba yung mga previous review tsaka comment?
Hindi, dapat ngayon lang. Dapat yung ngayong afternoon.
Ayun bro,
So,
may pambili tayong 2 kilong galunggong yan.
so guys, if you have questions, let us know. Gerald and I will be here. And yeah, I think that's it. And then there's another one this afternoon. We will talk about how to create patch and apply the patch. Okay, so guys, thanks again. Have a great lunch.
Thank you, Sir Paul.
See you later guys.